right. Let's bring in Chase Daniel, former NFL quarterback and host of the Chase Daniel Show on YouTube channel. You always learn something. He always makes us smarter when we talk to him. Thanks for joining us, Chase. Explain to me how rookie receivers are having this kind of impact. Like Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, like those guys are out of nowhere. Then you had OBJ when he came in. You have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Is this going to be normal, or is this an aberration in your mind?
This is definitely not normal, especially with Puka. And you look at Puka and you look at Cooper, and what's the one person holding them together? Matthew Stafford. And Matthew Stafford is absolutely balling, right? They brought in Puka, and when Kupp was hurt at the beginning of the year, they said, hey, just go be Cooper Kupp. Doesn't seem that hard to do when you're in that offense, but it's extremely hard. The dude's got more 150-yard scrimmage games than anyone ever in the National Football League, including, Randy Moss, Jamar Chase, all these guys. And it's pretty impressive for me to what Puka's been able to do, because he doesn't look very fast. He's a strong son of a buck. He's 220 pounds. They give him jet sweeps. The guy last night hit him and just fell off of him, and on the game-winning jet sweep. He's made different. And so you just really never know what you're getting when you're drafting a rookie receiver. Look at Quentin Johnson and the Chargers. Hasn't really lived up to the hype of the first round pick. And they got Puka in the 5th round. And quite honestly, he's really close, in my opinion, to winning Rookie of the Year. Between him and CJ Stroud, right? It's probably a quarterback award, probably going to go to CJ Stroud, but it needs to be talked about on what Puka's doing. And then you look at just Matthew Stafford. When you have a guy like that, and you're able to go in and you're able to have Puka learn under Matthew, which Matthew's been, on everywhere. My year, 15 years in the league, and probably playing some of his best ball. So you put that, and you put Kyron Williams with the Rams offense. The coaching job that Sean McVay's done this year has been pretty impressive too.
But I know that they just sort of became dangerous now because they're 8-7. If they get into the playoffs. So let's look at the Rams, bigger picture here. Are they going to make the playoffs? And if they do, how dangerous can they be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I tweeted that last night. I said 2 teams that aren't in the playoffs right now, this is before the game, that are going to be really dangerous is the Bills, which they don't even control their own destiny, which is wild to me.
Yeah.
If the Rams win out, I think they're going to get in, but they're probably the only team that can contend with the 49ers, in my opinion, in the playoffs. They're just built that way. You love Sean McVay, but yeah, it's probably one of Sean McVay's most impressive coaching jobs. And everyone's like, well, he's 8-7. Yeah, but do you remember that whole narrative at the beginning of the year, how young they were at receiver, and Matthew
and Matthew's
draft wife came out, no draft picks, and Matthew's wife came out and was like, he has a hard time understanding the young guys. Well, it's working right now. They came off by, they're 5-1. That seems so long ago to me, and it's just impressive. Obviously everyone knows the stats, but with Kyron Williams, they're averaging 14.7 points per game without Kyron Williams. With Kyron Williams, 28 points a game. So that fact that they're running the ball. I saw a stat last night, Dan, that they pre-snapped, motioned, or shift on 90% of the snaps in the game last night, which would be the 3rd highest rate in NFL history. 90%, your motion, your shifting, that's sort of how we blitz the defense. And the fact that all these young guys have sort of worked up to this point, and Sean McVay's trusted them. These guys got to be smart to run that offense. That's with Puka too. There's so many little option routes. There's so many different routes that he has 3 to 4 options to do, and they're all on the same page. They're clicking right now. Their defense is playing well, but honestly, that offense is the one that has them rolling.
Okay, what concerns you about the 49ers?
Nothing. It's if I'm being honest, I break them down every week because I'm a huge Brock Purdy fan.
That makes me nervous. That there's no flaws. So they're going to the Super Bowl. If I said you can have the Niners or the field in the NFC.
And I was a big Niners fan even when they were going through that 3-game losing streak, because I likened it to the Rams when they went with Matthew Stafford, when they had that little midseason collapse, and then all of a sudden it made them stronger and they ended up pushing through and going through. Look, on offense, they don't really have they don't have a weakness, man. Like it's really hard. Like the only team, and I say this about a few teams, the only team that can beat the 49ers are the 49ers. Like penalties, illegal formation penalties, like stuff like that. Like their defense was struggling a little bit. It seems like they've sort of shrunk their menu on defense. And so they're playing a lot faster. They're not doing a whole bunch of this other coverages and stuff like they were doing before Dallas, when Dallas came in and whooped up. Like all that stuff is sort of out the window, and they're just tackling well, man. They're really impressive. It's hard to find a weakness for those guys.
But I'm wondering, is the team MVP the same as the league MVP? If I said, who is the MVP of the Niners?
Yeah. Of the Niners, it's CMC. It's not even close. But as you know, Dan, it's a quarterback award for the NFL. So Brock Purdy is far and away, like numbers wise, he's won in every single category. But like CMC, 20 plus touchdowns. Like, does CMC deserve the credit? Yeah. But like, when was the last running back to win the MVP? Was it LaDainian Tomlinson? Or who was it?
Adrian Peterson.
AP. Yeah. So it's just like, this league's built on quarterback play. And the fact that Mr. Irrelevant is playing like an MVP, like that's a story in it of its own self. But I love Brock. I think Brock's doing really good right now. But
it feels like with Brock Purdy, if he was a first-round draft pick, no one would have a problem with him being an MVP. He's Mr. Irrelevant. It feels like this is kind of a novelty. It's a cute little story. He wins because he's surrounded by talent, which isn't fair to him. And then now you have Tua saying, hey, I'm keeping receipts because people don't think that I'm not a good quarterback without Tyreek Hill and Mostert and Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, like when you break down Brock, though, some people in the narrative sometimes with people that actually don't know what they're talking about and just want to throw stuff out. Oh, this guy's a dink and dunk quarterback. Okay, Dan, I get so angry about that because, okay, they are 32nd in the NFL in passing attempts. They are second in passing yardage. The dude, all he does is throw the ball down the field. And yeah, okay, you're going to get a couple of these screens to Debo or CMC that go for 60 and it'll pad your stats. Sure, you still got to make the right decision. That's a very intricate offense for a quarterback to run. And he's constantly like all these layered throws, like over linebackers, between safeties and linebackers. They're difficult to do. All these throws are 15 to 20 yards down the field. I saw a back shoulder throw that he had to Debo last week against Arizona, to the field, opposite hash, perfect throw, 35 yards on a dot. People are like, well, he doesn't have the arm strength. What else do you want him to do? That's to me is like drives me crazy because the dude is having an absolutely unbelievable season and deserves all the credit in the world for it.
He's Chase Daniel, former NFL quarterback, and you can watch him on the Chase Daniel Show on YouTube channel, which I did, and you were talking about Dak Prescott and his performance against the Buffalo Bills. Let me make this a little bit broader with the Dallas Cowboys, who have Miami coming up this weekend. Were you more concerned with that defense and what it was unable to do against Buffalo, or the offense that was unable to do anything against that defense?
Both. And I'll give you a reason why is because I think that people have found, because if you go back to week 2 or 3 when Dallas played Arizona ran the piss out of the ball, like 180 yards rushing, beat them there. And then they go and do the same thing Buffalo does. And that's really just Joe Brady on the offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator for the Bills, like completely switching up what the Bills want to be on offense. Like they are power football now. They're making Josh Allen not make the big mistake. You can still play hero ball. But those Cowboys, they haven't stopped the run. And that's sort of their biggest problem for me on the defensive side of the ball. But when you go to the offense side of the ball, I've tried for 3 weeks now to understand and to break down why the Cowboys are averaging 40 points at home and they're 7-0, and why they're averaging 25 points a game, 24 points a game on the road and are 3-4. And I can't, for the life of me, I can't understand it. It looks like their offense is completely different. And everyone wants to talk, well, the noise and there's less okay, no, you still have to go out and execute. So I'm a little bit worried about that. They go on the road again this week in Miami. It's a must win for Dallas. Like if Dallas wants any chance at potentially getting a 1 seed, which I don't think they can, because I think San Francisco is going to win out. Like they got to have this game, but it's a huge game for Miami too. I just don't know if Miami's beat anyone that I trust. Obviously, that loss a couple weeks ago to Tennessee was really telling. And it's gonna be an interesting game. Like I want to see Dak and the boys go out and hang 40 on Vic Fangio and the Dolphins, which I don't know if they're going to end up doing, but it's almost like a get right game, even though you're playing a 10-4 team, if that makes sense.
You'll know this language. I was told by a former quarterback, and I was saying, what's Buffalo doing with Dallas in real time? And he was talking about 2 high safeties. And so Dak wasn't getting any. I mean, he was completing passes, decent percentage, but no yards downfield. So can you translate that to me and the audience?
Yeah, that's Sean McDermott's favorite thing to do, and he's done it his entire career. Is he plays 2 high safeties, and they play this quarters look. So you could possibly get 7 to 8 guys in the box with those quarters safeties who are playing at like 8 to 10 yards, which is wild. Like if you look at Dallas, they had a play action shot to Cooks, second play of the game versus quarter safeties. He missed it. Like the game might be a lot different. Okay, so they're not only are they getting 7, 8 into coverage when passing downs are happening, but they're getting 8 in the box when running downs are happening. So it's the best of both worlds. I didn't love Dallas's plan because they were like big block them up shots, 2-man routes versus 2 high safeties. It's just not very good. And they're manning these guys up underneath. It's an impressive job. I mean, you look at Buffalo in every category, they're top 6 in the NFL in defense. No one talks about it, especially with all the injuries they've had up front. Yeah. AJ Espinosa was out. Micah Hyde was out. All these guys have been out, and for them to sort of flip the switch on who they are as a team in Buffalo, when you go from a switch at Dorsey to Brady at offensive coordinator, they were throwing the ball a lot. Now they're running the ball like a ton. They're playing keep away. They're playing good defense. Their defense isn't playing as many snaps because they're playing keep away on offense. It's really complimentary football right now in Buffalo.
Feels like people are maybe easing off the Lions bandwagon. Why is that?
Yeah. I mean,
are you still on the Lions bandwagon? Okay.
Not me. Yeah. I mean, I love what Goff was able to do, especially last game against Denver, 5 touchdown passes. And if you play them at night, like they're a hard out. They're 4-5-0. It's like the Lions after dark is what Jared Goff said. I thought that was so funny. And it's just an interesting thing. It's really their defense that's been letting them down. Offensively, they've been scoring a lot of points really the whole year. And if you look at the first really 8 games of the year on defense, they were really good under Aaron Glenn. And lately, they've been trying to play a little bit more man coverage, and they've been getting exposed. And so not only that, but then teams are running the ball a lot more against the Detroit Lions, limiting the possessions that Jared Goff has on offense. In those 4-game stretch, there was a 4-game stretch where I think they went 2-2. Goff had 9 turnovers, right? So no turnovers last game. The previous 4, he had 9. So just a lot less possessions on offense. So I think if they can handle the football, shore up that run defense, and I think they're going to, I mean, look, they're going for an NFC North title for the first time in 30 years. Like, how are you off the bandwagon? It's the Detroit Lions. They haven't been good in forever. I'm excited about it.
Okay. Before I let you go, let's say I go to a holiday party. I don't want to sound like I know what quarterbacks know, like some quarterback jargon that I could be talking about where people go, damn, all right, he's not just a talking hairdo. Like, so when you're talking to, Drew Brees, like, can you give me something where I could just be bringing this up in a casual way, and then, guys in the neighborhood are going to go, all right, he knows what he's talking about.
Well, first of all, I love the sweater. So you wear that sweater, you're going to look like you know what you're talking about with quarterbacking. Okay, so that's the first and foremost. But I think in quarterback talk, we talk about cadences, like, hey, going 1, going 2, going 3. So like all these cadences, I think it's funny, and a lot of teams are using it. If you listen, it's like, okay, on first sound, it's Sunday. You use days of the week. On Monday, you go on 1. So it's ready, Blue 80, Blaze it up. Tuesday it's 2, Wednesday it's 3. So say, yeah, did you see Jared Goff, man? He's going on Tuesday out there. You're wearing that sweater, man. You're good. You're good. Yeah.
Okay. So if it's on Sunday,
it's like Set it's just like the first sound. So Set and Monday is ready, Blue 80, Blue 80 Set. It's like on 1, and then Tuesday's 2, Wednesday's 3. So
give me a Wednesday. That. Give me a Wednesday here.
Ready, Blue 80, Blaze it hot. Ready, Blue 80, Blaze it hot. Ready, Blue 80, Blaze it hot. Snap. Peyton Manning was the best at that, man.
I thought Dan Marino was.
He's that's a blast from the past. I don't know if they were mic'd up when Dan Marino
You didn't
was
need to
hear all
be.
that
You didn't
cadence.
need to be.
Yeah.
You could hear him because he would be like, he'd just go up there and go, da, da, da.
Yes.
Like, I don't even know what that's on. If you're a lineman or something, and you're like, okay, is it on 3? Is it 2? But he would go, da, 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 da.
And that's what Dak's doing now. Here you go. I've never heard of that in my life, but it's like
Here we go.
Most viral thing. Yeah,
good stuff.
So all these quarterbacks are different, man.
All right, yeah, crazy. Chase Daniel, you can see his show on YouTube channel, The Chase Daniel Show. And hey, thank you again. All your help this year, and we'll talk to you in the new year. Merry Christmas to you, bud.
Merry Christmas, guys. Thanks.
That's Chase Daniel. Always interesting. Always good stuff.